Hello there, you absolute legends. Emma McElhinney here with Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. I am here to ruin your misconceptions about perimenopause, fat loss, and kick midlife in the face. So if you think your 40s are a drag, think again. Because every week I am going to be stripping down the myths about perimenopause. I'm serving you raw, unfiltered truths about your health and smashing misconceptions about fat loss. And a whole lot more. So if you thought you knew midlife, you don't know the half of it. Aging is inevitable, but getting old is a choice. So buckle up, grab a glass of something yummy, and let's get to it. Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. Me, not bullshit today. I'm okay today. Right, so, excuse me. I hope you're having a good week. It's Friday today. I'm recording this on a Friday, and it's sunny. I'm recording this in April, and it's been raining for 40 days and 40 nights. But today is quite sunny. It's not warm yet, but it's getting there. Right. So today's episode, excuse me, I've got my water here, so let me just pause a second. So today's episode is all about talking to your GP, you know, what to do, how to have a good conversation with your GP if you don't feel that they are taking your perimenopause symptoms seriously. And it's a huge topic, and luckily over the past few years, thanks to Davina and Dr. Lou's Newsom, etc., there's been huge step changes in the care given by general practitioners here in the UK. But obviously there's still some areas, some people, some surgeries where potentially care is not as positive. So today I'm going to give some advice on what to do if you don't feel that you are getting taken seriously. But before I do that, I need to ask you to do me a favor. So I want you to like this podcast on the tool that you are using. So Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, whatever. So like it, comment, rate it. Because the more interaction that I get, the more people that get to see it. And I think a lot of the things that I talk about are hugely important. And I would love other people to get this advice too. So please, please, please don't sit in secret. Just share the love. Share the love. Right. Okay. So there's a couple of things to be mindful of here when we're talking about this. So a lot of people, some people don't have really any main concerns when they go through perimenopause. We call them the lucky ones, right? Some people just sail through it and all is okay. And some people have 101 gazillion different things. And the thing, your GP, you have to remember, your GP has trained for a gazillion years to get to where they are. And they've seen everything and they've heard everything. So one of the big common challenges we see as from women is like they don't necessarily want to talk about intimate symptoms. They don't want to talk about discharge. They don't want to talk about vulva pain. They don't want to talk about loss of libido. They don't want to talk about their fannies, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is we all see the news. We all know waiting lists are ridiculous. We all know the NHS is on its knees. And many people, like the women that I work with, tend to be people that put everybody else first. So they go, I don't want to bother the GP. There's people worse things than me. These things seem really minor, so I'll just leave it and just put up and shut up. There's some people that go, oh, they're just going to put me on antidepressants, or they're just going to put me on HRT, and I don't want these things, or they're just going to tell me to change my diet. And they have these kind of preconceived notions of what they think that the GP is going to talk about with them, and it's, you know, we can't anticipate because we are not the doctor. And so there's these kind of preconceived notions before we even have the appointment. But things will never change unless you take that first step. So it's hugely, hugely important to take that first step. And no matter how small or insignificant you think your symptoms are, if you're not functioning at the level that you know you can be, like if your moods are all over the place, if your like feeling sluggish, if you're emotional, if you're in pain, if you've got ongoing fatigue, you're not sleeping, you've got hot flushes, your periods all over the place, speak to the GP. Speak to the GP, right? So when you are going to speak with the GP, it's so important that you're prepared, that you can write a list of everything that's going on, so that, you know, you don't get a lot of time. I think it's something like 7 minutes, 8 minutes or something. I suppose it depends on your health board. So you've got a really short amount of time to explain to your GP what is going on. So write down on a bit of paper all the issues that you're experiencing and how they are impacting your life. Because your doctor, like say you're having, I'm so tired that I have to have a 2-hour sleep in the afternoon. This is impacting my ability to make money. I'm having 3 hot flushes a day. This is my impact on my ability to go out the house, right? So all of these things are going to impact other things. So if you can't get out the house, it's going to affect your mental health. If you have to have a 3-hour nap every day, it's affecting your ability to make money or to go to work. So think about the impact of what these symptoms are having on you as well, because they need to be able to support you in the best way possible, right? So the other thing is do your research. Now, if you have, there's something called the NICE guidelines, which talk about, you know, what are some of the symptoms, how you should be dealt with by the healthcare provider, and what are the routes commonly used, you know, what are your rights in terms of medication. Now, not everybody wants HRT. Not everybody can get HRT. And sometimes your doctor is not going to prescribe HRT because it's maybe not the right thing for you. And sometimes your doctor won't prescribe HRT because they are not prescribing for you properly, right? That's not for me. I don't know every single doctor, and I don't know exactly what is right and what is wrong in terms of what you are entitled to. Now, I do still see some women getting fobbed off with take antidepressants. And for the most part, I don't know if that is always right. It might be right depending on certain symptoms. It might be wrong based on the symptoms that you're having. So it's important that you do your research into your symptoms and your body and what's working for you. Now, sometimes, and we do see this quite a lot, is people getting prescribed HRT when they might not necessarily need it. Because a lot of the times, a lot of the symptoms that come with perimenopause and menopause can actually be resolved with lifestyle. And if you think, right, some of them, I call them the 4 big bad boys of perimenopause, right? So there's one which is mood, and that is mood swings, heightened anxiety, depression. The other one is fatigue and energy, the tiredness, the lack of motivation, the lack, just feeling sluggish. We've got the physical changes, so bloating, weight gain, skin, etc. And then we have this kind of feeling of identity. Who even am I? What's going on in my life? What do I want out of life? All these kind of things. Now, this is a really simplistic idea, but I work with perimenopausal women, I work with postmenopausal women, and the fatigue and the energy and the mood and the physical changes. In fact, we work with all of these areas. But one of the very first things we do with our clients, before they've even officially started, is we get them drinking between 2 and 3 liters of water every single day. We get them to cut out caffeine from about 2 o'clock onwards. And we ask them to put their phone away at least an hour before they go to bed. Right, that's 3 simple things. See, by the time my clients start, so this is stuff that we do before official starting, most of our clients notice huge changes in their energy levels. They noticed huge changes in their fatigue. They notice huge changes in their mood. And they notice huge changes in their physique, bloating primarily, right? So there are controllables. There are things that you can grab in both hands and do today that can help alleviate some of these symptoms. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes there will be hormonal impacts in there. There will be hormonal elements. And if you think, like, when you are in your fertile years and your progesterone, testosterone, estrogen are all like fairly, trundling along in a straight line. And then we get into what we call the fuckery years, that kind of early 40s onwards, where I don't know if you can see me, but your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, kind of like this, up and down. There are obviously going to be times in your cycle where you have less energy and when you have more energy. So there will be times when naturally within your cycle you will be more tired. But doing some simple things for yourself will make a huge difference. Losing body fat is another example. That can make a huge impact to your overall hormone health. When you have more body fat, your body fat cells release more estrogen. So that can then create a bigger gap between your estrogen levels and your progesterone levels, which can then make your perimenopause symptoms worse. So if your doctor is telling you, change your lifestyle and lose some body weight, they're not saying it to be mean. They're saying it because it's going to give you a more pleasant perimenopause period. And yeah, you might need HRT along with that. You might not. I don't know that for sure. So there are going to be some instances where you feel you're getting fobbed off because you're like, oh, they've just told me to lose weight. But there is an actual reason for that, because it will benefit the hormonal fluctuations that you're having. It will help you feel better. Alongside doing the lifestyle changes, more water, more fruit and veg, more protein, less refined carbohydrates, less sugar, less caffeine, less alcohol. All of these things will really, really benefit you. Right, so let's go through some steps on how to handle that conversation. Right, so the first thing, make sure you're prepared in advance. So write down your symptoms and write down how they're impacting you. If you think that your appointment time is not going to be long enough, you can ask when you're booking your appointment for a double appointment, and you can explain, like, there's a lot of things going on here. I think I'm going to need more time. So you can explain that in advance, and the reception team should accommodate that. If you want a female doctor, you can ask for a female doctor. If you don't want to talk to a man about it, you can ask for a female doctor. You can ask your GP surgery, do you have a menopause specialist? And if they have, great. And if they don't, you can pick a doctor that you feel most comfortable with. Figure out what it is that you want out of this appointment. Like, do you just want some advice? Do you want to know what the pathway is? Do you want to talk about HRT so that you know how you want that conversation to go, and explain that to the doctor, going, I'm here today because I've got X, Y, and Z going on, and I want to talk about the options that I've got medically, or I want to talk about the options that I've got through talking therapy or whatever. Some people get that it can be quite an emotional topic, especially if you've had symptoms for a long time and you've not really spoken about them, or not really dealt with them, or not even appreciated how much they're impacting you. And it's fine. Like, doctors are used to this. Doctors are used to, like, you'll get to a point you're like, I can finally get this off my chest. I can finally explain that I feel so shit that I don't want to get out of my bed. I can finally explain that I don't recognize who I am anymore. I can finally explain that my vagina is so sore when I have sex with my partner that I just don't want to have it anymore. Like, they're used to this, but if it can get quite emotional. So that's another reason why it's important to jot things down, so that, like, you can, like, as you're in floods of tears, and I've been in floods of tears in front of the doctor and not written things down, and basically I had to, like, write things on their notepad, like, as you're sobbing your heart out. And if you don't like what they tell you, you can ask for a second opinion. You can ask to speak to another practitioner. You can take these nice guidelines in with you and explain, right, well, it says here that HRT could be a good option for me based on X, Y, and Z. You can say to them, well, actually, I have been drinking 3 litres of water a day. I've been eating 5 portions of fruit and veg a day. I've been exercising. I've been not using my phone in the evening, and I'm still getting all these hot flushes, and I'm still hating life and whatever. So, and showing them that you are putting in the work as well to help change overall lifestyle. So I hope that helps today. There's a good book that I recommend, which is actually, it's a nice book it's just like a more of a handbook type thing. It's Dr. Louise Newtham, and I think it's just called Menopause. It's got a kind of Scrabble board picture on the front that spells out menopause. And it's really quite handy for advice on various topics. And there is a section in there about, when you need to see a doctor. So that can be a really worthwhile resource for you as well. So I hope this has helped somebody today. If it has, please let me know. If you want more information on any of the things that I've spoken about, let me know. This sounds quite braggy. It is quite braggy anyway. I'm going to share. But when I was recently at my GP, I've had clients over the years who all live quite locally, and we live in quite a small town. And the GP said to me, she's like, "Oh, you're Emma McElhenney?" I was like, "Uh-huh." She's like, "I've had so many people in here telling me that their entire life has changed because of the work that you're doing with them and making my life easier from a prescribing point of view, because we know that they've changed from a health point of view." So there is huge amount of value in taking as much control as you can over your own health, over your own inputs. And if you can take control of the inputs, i.e. what you eat, what you consume, so what you eat, food, what you consume from news, from social media, and how you move, what you do with your body, you are so much further ahead than most other people. So much further ahead. So take control of the things that you can control, and that should make your perimenopause so much easier. So there you go. I hope that helps. Right. I want you to like and share and do all the things. Tell everybody you know about how amazing this podcast is. If you want more advice or support from me, send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram. It's at EmmaTeamEMW, or Facebook is just Emma McElhenney. With a word interested or ready, and we can have a quick chat. We can see where you're at. We can see what you want to achieve, and then we can talk about the best options of how I can help you do that. Alternatively, you can purchase the Happy Hormone Handbook for $8.99 off of Amazon. It's kind of funky. And it's got loads of recipes. It's got loads of things to do to help you in the kitchen. It's got the A to Z to happy hormones. So yeah, get involved in that. And that's it for me today. Have an amazing day, rest of your day, or tomorrow, or whatever. And I will speak to you in the next one. And just like that, we have spiced up another episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. Massive shout out and a huge thank you for hanging out with me today. I really hope you've been entertained. And remember, don't be shy, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, keep those heels high and standards higher. Remember, it's all about glowing, growing, and downright owning it. So catch you on the flip side, and don't forget to click the link in the show notes to get your freebie.